What if I told you that ignoring her doesn't always bring her back? In fact, sometimes it pushes her further away. You were told to go no contact, stay silent, and walk away confidently. But now she's more distant than ever, and you're left asking, did I mess up? Here's the truth. Pulling away without internal strength isn't power, it's performance. If your silence came from fear, pain, or hope, she'd chase you. She felt it, and she stayed gone. Right now you might be confusing distance with attraction, but women don't respond to absence alone. They respond to the energy behind it. If it's rooted in weakness, it repels. If it's rooted in peace, it pulls. So if you're ready to stop using silence as strategy and start embodying real self-respect, like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment. I walk away with strength, not fear. Number 1. Her silence is a test of your strength. She goes quiet, no calls, no texts, no reaction. And in that silence, your mind screams, did I say something wrong? Should I reach out? Is she losing interest? But what if her silence isn't rejection, but a test? In the world women grow up in, being emotionally open is often seen as weakness. She's taught not to call first, not to look desperate, not to be vulnerable. Even if she thinks of you, misses you, or wants to reach out, her pride stands guard. She waits, not because she doesn't care, but because she cares too much and fears being weak. That's when the test begins. The modern man, influenced by fear and impulse, tends to react. He floods her inbox. He over-explains. He apologizes for things he didn't even do. And in doing so, he unknowingly confirms the very fear she's testing against. That men are predictable, emotionally dependent, and easily led by external validation. But the Stoic man sees through the illusion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Her silence is not an insult, it's a mirror. What do you see when you face it? Your fear or your fortitude? Your mission is not to decode her silence, it's to master your own. Your value doesn't fluctuate based on her attention. Your presence doesn't vanish because she's distant. And when you stop reacting and hold your frame, everything shifts. She begins to wonder, why didn't he chase me? Has he moved on? Did I underestimate him? That's the power of restraint. You're not playing games. You're choosing dignity over desperation. You're letting her confront her own feelings without interfering. And that's not manipulation. That's maturity. So next time she withdraws, don't fill the silence. Become the silence. Fill your day with purpose, your mind with clarity, your life with movement. Let her find you, not where she left you, but somewhere higher. Because the man who holds still in her silence becomes the man she can't ignore. Comment below, I control my mind, no one else does. Number 2. Why she pulls away. It's not about disinterest. She used to light up when you messaged. Her voice was warm, her attention constant. Then something changed. She pulled back. Tosses became shorter. Her tone turned colder, and naturally you assume the worst. She lost interest. But what if her silence isn't rejection, but protection? Here's the truth many men don't see. A woman often withdraws not because she feels too little, but because she feels too much. The moment she realizes she's starting to care, open, and feel vulnerable, that's when fear creeps in. Not fear of you, but fear of losing control. You see, society has shaped her behavior more than you think. She's been told, don't be too easy, make him chase. If you show him you care, he'll pull away. So instead of leaning into her feelings, she suppresses them. Instead of showing warmth, she chooses distance. Because in her world, emotional restraint is the currency of power. From a Stoic lens, This moment calls for awareness, not anxiety. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Her silence feels like loss. But when viewed calmly, it's often an act of self-protection wrapped in pride. This is where most men fail. They assume her pullback is final. They start chasing. They over-text, over-collegize, over-express. But doing so only validates her fear, proving she holds emotional power over you, and that imbalance destroys attraction. Instead, realize this: her silence is not about you, it's about her internal conflict. Her desire for closeness battles her fear of being vulnerable, and the more pressure you add, the more she retreats. So how should you respond? You don't. Not out of spite, but out of strength. You maintain your rhythm, you respect her space, and in doing so you offer her what she truly needs: the safety to feel her emotions on her own terms, without your emotional noise clouding the process. Let's challenge the common belief that love requires constant pursuit. Real love grows in emotional space, and if she senses that you can hold your own while she sorts through her walls, she'll start to trust you more, not less. Because the man who stays calm when she pulls away becomes the one she eventually pulls toward. Now speak out and comment below. I control my mind, no one else does. Number 3. The battle between ego and emotion. Inside her, silence. Inside her, quiet is a storm. On the surface she seems calm, cold, even, but underneath, her heart pulls in one direction while her pride pulls in another. She wants to reach out to say she misses you, to ask what happened, but then the voice of her ego whispers, "Don't. Let him come to you. Don't look weak." This internal war is more common than you think. Her emotions long for connection, while her pride fears rejection. She worries that texting first will make her seem desperate, that calling you will make you lose respect, and so she waits, not because she's indifferent, but because she's torn. This is where many men misunderstand. They assume her silence is rejection, but in reality it's a test, not just of your patience, but of your emotional composure. She's not asking you to prove anything outright. She's waiting to see. Will you break first? Will you fold under the pressure and chase me again? But a stoic man doesn't fold. He doesn't see her silence as a threat. He sees it as her struggle, and he lets her face it. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Her silence is an outside event. Your reaction is your responsibility. Here's the shift. If you run toward her, trying to fix things, you relieve her of the battle. You give her comfort, but you also rob her of the growth. She never has to face her own feelings. But if you stay still, calm, silent, focused, she's forced to confront what she truly wants. And often, that's when she breaks her own silence. Let's challenge a common myth. If you care, you must act. No. Sometimes, if you truly care, for yourself and for the relationship, you must not act. You must let the silence teach both of you. You must let her wrestle with her own pride, the way you've learned to wrestle with yours. So what should you do when her ego battles her emotion? Nothing. Not out of indifference, but out of wisdom. Because love isn't always about reaching out. Sometimes it's about holding back so the other person can reach deeper. Because the man who stays still while she struggles becomes the one who earns her truth, not just her attention. Comment below. I control my mind, no one else does. Number 4. Your silence shifts the power dynamic. When you stop reacting, something remarkable happens. The emotional ground shifts. She expected you to reach out, to fill the silence, to chase, but you didn't. You held your frame. And in that stillness, a new thought starts to creep into her mind. Why isn't he messaging me? Has he moved on? Did I lose him? This energy shift is subtle but powerful, because now it's not you wondering about her, it's her wondering about you. In most romantic dynamics, women are conditioned to believe they control the tempo. Society tells them, men chase, you choose. So when a man disrupts that script by calmly withdrawing, without resentment or neediness, he becomes unpredictable. And in that unpredictability, he becomes attractive again. From a Stoic perspective, this isn't a tactic, it's alignment. Epictetus taught, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. By choosing silence, you reclaim freedom. Freedom from emotional dependence, freedom from reactive behavior, and most importantly, freedom from the belief that your value hinges on someone else's attention. The silence you hold isn't passive, it's active. It communicates boundaries. It says, I'm not here to prove myself. I will not sacrifice my dignity for temporary comfort. It creates space, and the dynamic begins to change in that space. She starts to reflect. Was I too harsh? Why didn't he fight for me? Was I wrong about him? Let's destroy the myth that silence is weakness. In truth, silence, when rooted in self-respect, is a form of power. It forces the other person to confront themselves, to listen to the parts of their heart they've been ignoring. And often they begin to miss you, not the old you who chased, but the new you who walked away without noise. So how do you hold this silence? You live, you focus, you build. You take the attention you once gave her and pour it into yourself, not to make her regret, but to make yourself whole. Because the man who stays grounded when she withdraws becomes the one who shifts the entire dynamic, from neediness to mystery, from pursuit to presence. Now speak out and comment below, I control my mind, no one else does. Number 5. Society conditions her behavior, but you don't have to react to it. She doesn't always want to be silent. Deep inside she may want to call you, send that message or break the tension, but something stronger holds her back. The fear of appearing too easy. That fear doesn't come from her heart, but from the world around her. Society has conditioned women with one unspoken rule: if he cares, he'll chase. She's told from a young age that a woman who initiates is desperate, that silence earns value, and that men must prove love through pursuit. So even when she's thinking about you, even when she misses you, she stays quiet, because silence in her mind equals power. But here's the truth, that silence often has nothing to do with how she feels about you, and everything to do with how she was taught to protect herself. Her pride becomes armor, not because she doesn't feel, but because she's afraid to lose face. A Stoic man sees this. He doesn't take her silence personally. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. In this case, if her silence isn't rooted in truth, but in social expectation, you don't have to chase, fix, or decode it. You simply acknowledge it and return to yourself. Here's what most men do wrong. They try to counter her silence with effort. They overextend, over-explain, over-pursue, thinking that more action will break her wall. But in doing so, they confirm what society taught her, that she holds the power. Instead, try this. See her silence as her journey, not your problem. You are not responsible for the narratives she believes. Your role isn't to change her conditioning. Your role is to remain grounded in your own principles, to respond with stillness, not desperation. Let's break the myth that a woman's silence is always a sign of disinterest. It's often a sign of internal conflict, and sometimes The most powerful thing you can do is let her sit with that conflict, without giving her the reaction she was taught to expect. Because the man who refuses to play by society's script becomes the man she can't categorize, and the one she starts questioning everything about. Comment below, I control my mind, no one else does. Number 6. Chasing devalues you, even if you mean well. You think reaching out will show you care. You'll win her back by texting her first, apologizing for something unclear, or trying to clarify the situation. But in truth, every time you chase her silence, you lose a piece of your power, not because caring is weak, but because chasing someone who isn't meeting you halfway is self-betrayal. When you pursue a woman who has gone quiet, you confirm her control. She sees that she can withdraw affection and you'll come running. She doesn't need to explain. She doesn't need to reflect. She knows exactly how you'll react, and that predictability kills attraction. Let's be clear, there's nothing noble about trying to convince someone to choose you. Your worth should not depend on her response. When you send that third message with no reply, when you linger in uncertainty, hoping she'll suddenly value you, you're telling her, my emotions are yours to command. A Stoic man rejects this pattern. As Epictetus said, a man can't learn what he thinks he already knows. If you believe chasing equals love, you'll never understand true connection. Real love doesn't beg, it stands. It speaks once, clearly, and then it waits or walks. Here's a brutal truth. She respects you less when you chase. Not because she's cruel, but because desperation is repellent. She may have felt something before. She may have considered reaching out, but the moment you break your stillness to seek validation, the power dynamic tips, and not in your favor. Let's challenge a popular lie. If you don't fight for her, you'll lose her. No. You lose her when you fight for someone who isn't fighting with you. You lose her when you become so afraid of losing her that you forget to protect your own dignity. So what's the right move? Hold your frame, say what you need to say once, calmly and clearly, and then step back. Let her come forward. If she doesn't, that silence isn't a space to fill, it's a message to receive. Because the man who doesn't chase becomes the man who keeps his value, even when others can't see it. Now, speak out and comment below. I control my mind, no one else does. Number 7. Hold your frame to change the game. When everything in you wants to reach out, fix it, or explain yourself, but you don't, that's power. When the silence is loud and you still don't break, that's discipline. And when she expects you to chase but you stay grounded, that's how you flip the entire dynamic. Holding your frame doesn't mean ignoring your emotions, it means mastering them. You don't pretend to not care, you simply choose not to let your feelings overtake your self-respect. While most men fold under pressure, you stay still. That stillness is rare. That stillness makes her pause. That stillness rewrites the rules. In her silence, she expected you to react. When you don't, it forces her to reflect. Why isn't he texting? Did I push him too far? Has he moved on? She begins to doubt the script she was following, because you didn't follow your expected role in it. This is the moment where the Stoic philosophy shines brightest. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. Your strength isn't shown in pursuit, it's proven in patience. While others act out of impulse, you act from principle. Let's break a lie that ruins many relationships. If I don't show her I care right now, I'll lose her. But here's the paradox. When you rush to prove, you often lose respect. When you stay grounded in your value, you make her want to re-engage. Not because you manipulated her, but because you became magnetic. How do you hold your frame? You live your life. You stay busy, you build, you sharpen your focus. You don't post vague quotes or try to make her jealous. You don't drop hints or ask friends to talk to her. You walk forward, not because you don't feel anything, but because you choose to lead with strength, not weakness. Eventually she may reach out. She may send a subtle sign or message. If she does, you don't rush. You respond with the same calm that created the shift. And if she doesn't, you've already won. Because you didn't lose yourself chasing someone who was meant to find their way back. Because the man who holds his frame becomes the man who changes the game, not just for her, but for himself. Comment below. I control my mind, no one else does. Number 8. The true power of self-mastery. You win even if she never comes back. She thought you'd chase, she thought you'd fold, but you didn't. You chose silence, not out of pride, but out of principle. You chose focus, not on her, but on yourself, and slowly the dynamic began to change. But here's the deeper truth. You've already won, even if she never returns. Most men equate victory with a reply, a reconnection, a second chance. But true Stoic victory lies elsewhere. It lies in the moment you chose your self-worth over the need for validation. It lies in the instant you let go of the outcome and anchored yourself in purpose. That's the moment you stopped reacting and started leading. Her silence was never the enemy, it was the test. A challenge to your patience, your ego, and your emotional control. And you answered it not with anger or desperation, but with stillness, with presence, with growth. This is the Stoic's reward, not getting the girl, but getting yourself back. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't control her response. You can only control the man you become while waiting for nothing. And what kind of man did you become? The kind who doesn't beg, the kind who doesn't spiral, the kind who walks with quiet power even when no one claps. Let's break the last illusion, that love is only real if it's reciprocated. No. Love is real when it's honest, and your love for her was honest, but now it has evolved. It no longer demands to be seen or heard. It no longer pleads to be received. It simply is, and lives in you as experience, not attachment. You don't chase her anymore because you don't need her to feel whole. If she returns, great. If she doesn't, still great, because you didn't lose her. You released her, and in doing so you reclaimed your time, clarity, and direction. So walk on, not as a man waiting for someone to return, but as a man who no longer needs to be found, because the man who masters himself becomes the one no woman can truly forget. Now speak out and comment below. I control my mind, no one else does. You came here thinking no contact would flip the script. But now you know. It only works when you've already flipped something inside yourself. She didn't come back, not because she didn't care, but because she felt you were still tied to the outcome, still hoping, still attached. True detachment isn't waiting for her return. It's walking away with nothing left to prove. No hidden motives, no emotional bait, just stillness. When your silence becomes a reflection of your peace, not your pain. That's when the shift happens. Maybe she returns. Maybe but you've already won. If you're done playing strategies and ready to become unshakable, like this video, subscribe and comment. My peace doesn't depend on her reaction. Stay detached. Stay whole. Because real power isn't quiet to be heard. It's quiet because it doesn't need to speak.